Have you ever looked at something like this and you wondered, what the heck is this? Sometimes you're working with your OpenAI assistant and you get an output back from their large language model or any of their services. This, my friend, is the language of data. This is called JSON or JavaScript Object Notation. This is commonly used to exchange data from one server to another. So my friend, I have good news for you. In this video, I'm going to show you not only to read JSON data structures, but I'm also going to show you how you can leverage a model like Claude to act like a co-pilot to help you understand concepts like JSON and also read and access specific elements from the JSON object. Now, before I do, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop a new video about OpenAI assistants, Python, or how you can deploy your assistants. Feel free to share the video with others so that I can get the message across to anyone looking to develop and looking to build solid foundation in their AI development journey. So JSON, like I said, is a JavaScript object notation. It's a lightweight data interchange format that represents data as key value pairs, supporting basic data types like strings, numbers, booleans, arrays, and nested objects. Now, don't worry about the data types. I'm going to go into the Copilot and show you how to work with different data types. But I wanted to show you what a JSON data looks like. It's going to be in a key value pair format. So this is the key, and then you have the value. Key value, it could be a boolean like true or false as the value. It could be a list like reading, hiking, gaming. These are all elements of a list, right? These are values within a value. Now I know it could be a little bit mind-boggling at first, but once you start working with JSON, it will get a lot easier and easier. It could be another dictionary inside of the value. But imagine this as key value pairs. The keys are always strings, okay? It's going to be in quotation marks. It also looks like a dictionary object. If you're familiar with basics Python, then you see in a dictionary object, they both start with curly braces in the beginning and end with curly braces. But JSON is a little bit more versatile. I'm going to show you now how you can use a prompt and customize any LLM model to act as a Python tutor. So we're going to use that to help us understand the JSON structure more. And you could use any LLM model. I'm going to use Claude 3. It's an LLM model designed by Anthropic. I'm going to take this prompt here. Now this prompt will customize the task of the LLM model, making it more specialized as an expert Python tutor. So the prompt itself is, you are an expert Python tutor specialized in teaching the basics of Python programming, focusing on data structures and algorithms. You provide clear, concise explanations, practical example, etc. Beginner friendly, maintain conversational tone, also engaging with the user to get feedback. And also the last thing here, you will not delve into unrelated programming language or advanced topics beyond the scope of basic Python data structures and algorithm. So this customizes and augments the LM model with a more specialized task, and you'll see how you can use this also for learning coding faster. We're going to copy this prompt. Now this prompt is available in my Skool community. I'm going to put the link in the description. Feel free to use it and adapt it to help you learn programming concepts faster. We're going to paste it here. Notice already that the text that Claude provides is very easy to read. It's almost like reading a book. Like here, hello there, aspiring Python programmer. I'm your friendly expert tutor. First things first, let's talk about data structures, one of the most common. Okay, so it understands how to progressively provide you concepts so that you can grasp one concept at a time. Now I'm going to fast forward this a little bit to understand JSON. So I'm going to type, can you help me understand JSON? JSON is a lightweight data interchange format. Okay, we know this. Now notice that Claude also provides us some code. Now we can use this code and work in our own environment. And notice the elements here. Again, name is a key, Alice is a value. So think of the keys as the column names of an Excel table and the rows as the values. The age 30 is student. So this is a simple example. Now let's dive into a more complex example where you have the person as a key, and for the value you have another JSON object or dictionary object, whatever you might call it. These terms can be used interchangeably. The cities are going to be an array or a list. Okay, cool. First, to understand JSON, you need to understand two important data structures. One is the list. So list is going to be anything like this: fruits. We're going to have items like apples, then bananas, then mango. This is a list object. Each element is inside quotation because it's a string or a text. It could be a number. It doesn't have to be inside the string, inside the quotations if it's a number. But it's basically a list of items. Just like a grocery list, it's a list of items. And they're separated by commas, and then there's square brackets that give you a clue that this is a list object. How do I access an element in the list? Well, it's very simple, my friend. You type fruits because it's already established. Write the name of the list object that we created, and then we're going to use something called an index to access specific items in the list. So Python index starts with 0. I know it's a little bit confusing, but trust me, you'll get it once you start using it. So the first element is 0, the second element is 1, the third element is 2, something like that. So if I want to access the first element, it's going to be fruits, and inside square brackets, I'm going to put a 0. Now I'm able to access the first element. Similarly, I can access the third element by putting 2 here, and now I have access to the third element. The second data structure that you need to understand is something called a dictionary. Okay, we're going to go back to Claude, and notice Claude already gave us an example of a dictionary. So we're just going to copy this, put this right here. Now dictionaries look just like JSON objects. They're key value pairs. It's just a lot more simpler when it's a Python object, right? You have a key and then you have a value, you have key and then you have a value, curly braces in the beginning and at the end. That tells us that it's a dictionary object. So how do we access specific elements in the dictionary? Well, my friend, it's very easy. Just like we know how to access lists, to access dictionary, you put the name of the dictionary object followed by a square brackets. And inside the square brackets, you're going to put the name of that key value. So in this case, it's name. We can also put age, and then we'll get 25. So now we can access specific elements in a dictionary, specific elements in a list. Now let's go back to JSON and now understand how we can use this knowledge to start accessing JSON objects instead. Claude gave us an example here that in Python you can work with JSON data using JSON module. Here's an example of how to parse JSON data into Python dictionary. JSON natively is a string formatted object. When we receive the JSON data from, let's say, OpenAI servers or Google, or let's say any other APIs, we get a JSON data. We're going to get it in a string format. When we bring it over to Python, we need to parse it and convert it into a Python object like a dictionary. Simple key value pairs. And I'm going to show you how you can do that using this code example. We're going to copy this, go back to our code. So we import the JSON package. It's a package that lets you work with JSON files, whether you want to convert a Python dictionary to a JSON object or a JSON object into a Python dictionary. It works amazing for both use cases, but we're going to convert a JSON object to a Python dictionary, right? So we get a JSON data back from, let's say, OpenAI that looks like this: JSON data, key value pairs. And then we use something called loads JSON data function that converts this string into a native Python dictionary object. Okay, and then we're going to print this out to help you see what this looks like. Now it's in a dictionary format, and just like before, we can access specific elements of that data by just referring the key for that variable. Okay, so data name Alice. Great. Now we can go back to Cloud and say, give me an example of a JSON object that has dictionaries as values. Check this out. Now we have a more complex JSON data structure. It has the keys, but for the values, it has a list. And like we talked about, list is a list of items. In this case, it's a list of students. So for the values, we have a list of students, and each item in that list is basically a dictionary object. I know it's a little bit mind-boggling, but trust me, once you start accessing each element one by one, it will make sense. Now we can tell Claude, write the code to help me convert this JSON object to a Python dictionary. Great, so now Claude gave us an example where it has the JSON data as the JSON data object, but now it also then converts it to a Python dictionary. So we're going to copy this, paste it over into our development environment, and now we have this data loaded up as a Python dictionary. Now let's try to access each element one by one. So we know that the student here is a key, and the values are going to be the list object. So let's access first the student key, and then we're going to dive even deeper. So let's go to data students. Now we have access to all the items in the student key. This is a list. So how do we index a list? Well, I just showed you that we use something called square brackets, and inside we put the number for the index. And as you know, Python index starts at 0. So we're going to put 0 to access the first item in that list. Now we got into that first item. Now let's say I want to access all the courses. Courses again here is a key. So we're going to use square brackets again. Think of this as a dictionary. We're going to access the courses key, right? So we're going to put courses. Now we got into the courses. Now again, it's another dictionary. See how by understanding the simple concept of list and dictionary, you're now able to index each specific elements in the JSON object. It will make it a lot easier for you to start working with JSON files and accessing specific elements. Similarly, I want the value for the math score. Okay, so I'll just put math as the key, and now I have access to the value. Now that we know how JSON works, how list works, how dictionaries work, and how we can index each element, let's go back and try to retrieve the message from our JSON object that we got back from OpenAI. So let's go ahead and copy this over. Let's go ahead and paste it right here. So our OpenAI data is now loaded into our environment. We have the OpenAI data. We also have a function that processes the JSON file, converts it into a Python dictionary object. So now we can work on it just like we work on a dictionary object. Okay, so let's look at the data. So we're going to access, let's go back here. We're going to access the content key to get this value right here. This is the value that we get back from, let's say, an OpenAI assistant response or an OpenAI chat completion function. So this could be used in your workflow as well. So we want to access this value. So we need to first access the choices, right? So let's go ahead and access the choices key. We're in the choices key. Now inside it's a list object. It looks like it only has one item in that list. So it's going to be very easy to index it. Just put 0. We now have access to the first item in that list, and it has a bunch of key value pairs. One of them being a message as the key. So we're going to put the key as message. Now we have access to the content key value pairs. Now we're going to put content here. Boom. Now we have access to the content value from that JSON data that we got back from OpenAI. Thank you for watching, my friend. I hope this video was valuable and insightful for you. You will no longer have any confusion with your JSON structures and working with JSON structures that you get back from OpenAI Assistant or any other text generation models. Data is absolutely beautiful when you start learning how to use it. So make sure you join my Skool community to learn more about Python fundamentals, working with OpenAI Assistant, and so much more. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get updated every time I drop a new video. This is Imtiaz, your thought partner to build, deploy, and sell AI agents. Now you know a fundamental concept, JSON, and you understand the language of data. Now, watch this video to understand how RAG works, because this fundamental concept, my friend, will help you avoid this common pitfall called hallucination in your OpenAI assistants.